Hello, my name is Amanda Spadoni, and I'm going to talk to you today about the different topics on standardized testing for this week's discussion board. So, the first question is talking about disadvantaged students and if they should learn as quickly and as best as possible, or being immersed in a more well-rounded student. And teaching in having taught in a low-income school, I would say that the students need to be more well-rounded and a good citizen, because unfortunately, they're not getting that instruction at home of how to be a good citizen and what it's like to be a role model in the classroom, and what the importance of schooling is and why you should do well in school. So as a teacher, your job is to instill those values in your students, especially in low-income schools, and knowing that people care about them and that school is important. More or less, yes, the standardized tests inform or help with school funding, and a lot of times that's how schools get money or don't get money. So it is important to some schools, but when it comes down to the end of the day, it's not about the schools or the money, it's about the kids and what's impacting the kids and their own education. And if we look to the future and what we want our students to be in the world, we want them to be a well-rounded citizen and being able to have a job and hold their own in the world, and a standardized test is not going to make or break whether or not they can be a citizen. So I would have to say that the job as a teacher is going to be a more well-rounded student. To add on to that, for number 2, are standardized tests a good thing or a bad thing? And what do they really measure? Well, like every assessment, we give it to inform our instruction. But a lot of standardized tests nowadays, we don't really see the results. I'm kind of thinking of, the one I'm thinking of is the Smarter Balanced Assessment. We don't see the results in a way that help us inform our instruction, so it's more or less, why are we giving this test? To stress out our kids, or are we giving a test to actually inform our instruction? Where I would say a more accurate assessment would be a computer adaptive test, where as the students answer questions right or wrong, they are getting either harder or easier questions, and that truly give us an accurate read on what the students know and what the students don't know. So standardized testing, I believe, should really be more truthfully thought about in today's schools, and the importance. And because we do test our students a lot, and we need to prioritize what tests truly matter, and is those standardized tests really informing our instruction and helping our students be better and more successful. And then some alternative forms of assessment, I would say, like I just said, the computer adaptive tests, but more or less I would say like an exit slip, or a performance task, or a verbal conference. Some of those things are going to tell you more about how a student is responding to the material and how well the teacher's teaching it than a standardized test. And the last question, based on my own schooling experiences, I kind of grew up I went to a small private Catholic school growing up. So when I went to school, students with disabilities weren't accepted in school. And when I was in school, gay and lesbians weren't even a thought. So, and because I was in Catholic school, that definitely wasn't something that was ever talked about. And then we didn't really have students of racial minority or students that were not their first language wasn't English. So it was kind of a bubble, where now today in the school that I teach in, I would say that all those students are accepted, and they are all cared for and welcomed and looked at. They're not looked at any differently. The only difference would be how we can support them in being successful in our schools and in their least restrictive environment, or their general education classroom, or their special education classroom, or however they can be immersed in the school. But times are changing, so more or less, and not every school is welcoming, or not every district is welcoming. We live in a society today that it could be changed tomorrow of what is accepted and not accepted, but our job as educators is to really love every student that comes through our doors, whether it based on the color of their skin, what language they speak, whether they have a disability, their sexual orientation. Doesn't matter. They're all there to learn, and that's how every teacher should view their kids. So thank you, and have a good evening. Talk to you guys next week.